Okay, here we are, part 4, the fourth and final part of my High Lonesome 100 solo recon run mini series. I'm super excited to be taking you along for this run. So let's talk about what we've got going on. So this is the Fooses section. So let me be honest and preface that this is not the most scenic section of the High Lonesome course or of my 4-part mini series. I would say part 2 and 3 are probably the most scenic, if we're being honest. This section of the course is really critical for me in particular. It marks being officially out of the Alpine for the remainder of the race. All the major climbs of this race are completed. It will most likely be run overnight, and it offers some of the most runnable terrain on the course. And will be at mile 75.5, which means less than 25 miles of running to complete to get to the finish line, which at that point, I mean, that's just a Saturday long run. Let's go. We can do this. This section is known as Fooses. It starts at the Monarch aid station around mile 69, and about a mile into this section we reach what has been nicknamed the Satan slip and slide due to its steep grade and slick, loose terrain that is underfoot. The Monarch to Fooses section runs about 7 miles, where the Fooses aid station sits at mile 75.5. And although Fooses is not a crew accessible aid station, to me, it holds a lot of significance in the fact that we are officially out of the Alpine for the remainder of the race. The majority of the climbing for the race is complete. And also we are at mile 75.5, which means that there's less than 25 miles left to run, which in my mind is a very digestible number. And if we make it to Fooses, we are finishing this race. So my plan for this particular effort was to go out and practice running on very tired legs. And when I say running, actually running. What I was going to do was park at the Fooses, well, I guess near the Fooses aid station, and run approximately 6.5-7 miles towards the Monarch aid station, which had about 2,600 feet of elevation gain. And this section is on casual, not technical trail at all, just kind of like dirt road, not anything too crazy. Biggest focus for this run was kind of at that turnaround point, running this descent. My hope for today was to run as much as possible and really get my quads used to descending while fatigued. Although I feel I've done a good job of that in my training, I just thought this was a great opportunity, especially with this particular descent being a part of the High Lonesome course. But before we get into today's run, I do have to give a shout out to Janji. So this run is no different than every other run that I have featured in this mini series, but I did wear a Sun Chaser hoodie. Again, has UPF 50, so I was able to focus on my run, not applying sunscreen despite being at high altitude. On this run, I did wear the Janji multi-short, which offers really great breathable perforated shorts, as well as a waistband where you can tuck plenty of gels, AirPods, chapstick, knickknacks, whatever you might need into the waistband. But if you care to check out any of the apparel mentioned in today's video or in my High Lonesome solo recon run mini series, click the link in the description. Use my code Mountain High Life for 10% off your order. You will certainly love every piece of Janji apparel you get. Trust me on that. Thank you so much to Janji for partnering with me, believing in the channel, and making the best running apparel. Let's get into the final run of the High Lonesome solo recon running mini series. Here we are, day 3 of my high-low recon scouting mission, 3 weeks out from the actual race. So I am all packed up. I'm actually leaving my hotel and driving straight to my trailhead, which is less than 5 minutes away. Amazing. And I'm going to be doing a pretty, I don't know, somewhere in between easy and moderate trail run. It is going to be another section of the High Lonesome course. And similar to the route I did yesterday, I'm going to be starting and running the initial segment opposite of how it's run in the course. That way I can kind of approach the true segment of the course going that direction with a little bit of fatigue on my legs. I will be honest, now that this is day 3 and I've had 2 pretty considerable efforts on my legs already, I'm a little sore, I'm a little tired, but we're just going to try to put out a good steady effort. We'll see what we've got. So after this, I'm gonna drive home, but I'm hoping that this won't take too long. I'm just, like I said, trying to be steady, check out this little section. So without further ado, let's make our way over and get going on today's run. Okay, so I am running the Monarch to Fooses section of the High Lonesome course. And I wanted to check this section out because I know there's a pretty steep descent out of Monarch, and I just really want to see what that's like, just so I kind of know how I want to get down it, especially being, 60 some odd miles into the race, 70 miles into the race. So far we're just following the Colorado CDT trail down this private road, and to get to Monarch Pass we're gonna have to climb a good ways. But so far it's pretty cool this morning, not too hot, which is really nice. We'll see what this day has in store, see how the legs hold up and the mind holds up. Few weekends I've spent in the mountains, I keep getting so dry in like my throat and sinuses. And have I been sleeping great? Not necessarily, but it's like the dust and just how dry it is being at altitude. It's rough. So if you are going to be staying up high for High Lonesome or other ultras, it's just something to consider. Humidifier. So we're like 3.5 miles in. Very wooded, very remote feeling, but it's nice because it's shaded and not super high altitude. It seems as though we may be getting to the steep slip and slide section. So let's see what the legs have in them for the day. I was actually able to load it on a map, and this is in fact the Satan slip and slide of the High Lonesome course, which descending this, gonna be a lot of slipping and sliding, I'll tell you what. It's very steep. I mean, we've climbed 500 feet in a quarter of a mile. So it's very loose, washy, so it's gonna be tricky coming down this. Maybe we'll whip out the poles, I don't know. So this is it. Really wanted to see this section. Glad I'm here kind of getting an idea of what to expect. This is so steep. This is absurd. Look at this. The grade. Oh my God. I know it's very hard in the video to see how steep this is, but you'll just have to take my word for it. This is so steep. Seems as though the gate is the start of the slip and slide when descending, which is a good thing to know for High Lonesome, but I decided to continue on just a little ways so I could hit 7 miles. Seems like that was pretty much the rest of the climbing because this trail is very flat now. We did it, we did the climb. It just about took me out, but
yeah, that was way steeper than I was really expecting, but we got it done. Officially turning it around at 7 miles. One thing I was thinking as I was ascending the slip and slide was how nice it would be if I'm coming through Fooses during the sunrise and watching the sunrise on the eastern horizon. I think that would be really beautiful, but I don't know. I don't know when I'll really be coming through here. I haven't thought about it all that much. Now that we're less than 3 weeks out, I'll start doing more calculating and logistics. So we'll see. This little section of the CDT is nice and flat. We'll hit the gate and then we'll slip and slide all the way back to the car. And down the slip and slide we slip. We are through the slip and slide, so we have about 5.5 miles left. It's pretty flat or slight descent, so we're just gonna run and just have a good time. And I believe we are coming up on what will be the Fooses aid station, which is a non-crew accessible aid station, but I believe it's here. Could be wrong. Now we've got about a mile left. We are cooking. I feel so good. Legs, spirit, all of it.
Just finished up 14 miles, 2,600 feet of elevation gain for the Monarch to Fooses section of the High Lonesome course. I'm feeling really good and actually very surprised with how fast and how quick my turnover was, despite the very heavy and hard efforts I put in the 2 days prior to this. So feeling very stoked and just really grateful for the opportunity I had this weekend to come explore different sections of the High Lonesome course, because I'm walking away from this weekend feeling very confident and very excited to toe the start line here in less than 3 weeks. But I will kind of do a little recap. I'm going to throw it to future me here in just a moment. But I do want to say, if you have not seen it yet, I did do a week of training video that actually featured all 3 of these runs. It was kind of my peak week of training. So if you do care to check that out, I'll link it down in the description, but also perhaps subscribe so that way you can see how I do in the High Lonesome 100. So without further ado, let me toss it to me in the future. Okay, 14 miles, 2,600 feet of gain. And let me tell you, I was very surprised with how strong I felt on this effort. I was not expecting to feel this strong, especially with the 2 days that I had packed in before this. I was very impressed and it made me feel really proud of myself, because I feel like I've done a really good job up to this point with my training to get myself to this level of fitness and understanding the needs of my body and how I can recover, as quickly as possible going into back-to-back efforts like I did this weekend. I was able to move really quite well on that descent, much stronger than I was thinking I was going to be able to. And once I realized I was feeling good, I really did try to actually push myself. The reason being is, like I mentioned earlier, I want to get my legs used to trying to move down descents without it just absolutely crushing my quads, and trying to kind of demolish my quads during training so they can get a little bit stronger leading up to race day. It was really nice to get familiarized with this section of the course, because once you kind of hit that descent, it's either all downhill or really flat. There's no climbing. It's literally all downhill or flat to the Fooses aid station, which is really nice and a good nugget of knowledge to know going into race day, where I can kind of either recover or just plan to run, even if it's slow, just actually running this section. And so for the final part of my High Lonesome solo recon run mini series, I'm able to walk, or I should say run, away from these recon runs, knowing that I am strong and feeling more confident than ever as I get ready to approach the start line here on July 18th. Being able to check out and run these different sections of the course was something that only gave this race more meaning to me. The time spent planning my routes, learning the course, mentally and physically preparing for what I may face on race day, making mistakes, and seeing just how spectacular this course really is. I am so incredibly grateful for this opportunity because my entry to the High Lonesome was never guaranteed. The lottery is not hard to get into, but it's also not promised, and I am feeling just so lucky to be able to run this race and run this course with like-minded people and sharing this experience with so many incredible people that have put the time, effort, and energy into making this possible. I know I'll hurt, I know I'll grow, I'll learn and experience something that I will never forget, but I promise that I will do everything I can to just really appreciate every step, mile, climb, descent, wildflower, mountain, and individual who has made this incredible day possible. If you made it through this mini series, I just have to say thank you so much for watching. This has been such a fun project and fun event to share this with you, and I'm just feeling so excited to share this race with you. So if you've been tuning in, thank you so much. I'm getting really excited to share my race video with you guys. So if you don't want to miss it, consider subscribing. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below what your thoughts are if you run this section and, you know, just thoughts on the race. So if you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you again to Janji for partnering with me. Don't forget to click the link in the description. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, I'll see you race day soon. Bye guys.